Hi, my name is Sean Curran, and I live in the West Village of New York City. We here in the village are currently facing a major issue, which will impact our entire neighborhood. It's the design that's been approved for the conversion of the old Whitehall storage building. That's the old Whitehall building there, as seen from West 10th Street. Here's a rendering of what they're planning to build, and what we're hoping to stop. This enormous property borders Charles and West 10th Streets, and sits in the middle of the block between Washington Street and the West Side Highway. What this diverse area of the Far West Village is currently zoned for is tall, slender buildings with narrow footprints, set back from the sidewalks and streets. This opens up our neighborhood to light, air, and views. We can only assume that the developers, the Whitehall Corporation, didn't want to adhere to those zoning laws, since that would mean they would lose precious square footage on what is the largest undeveloped property in the West Village. In order to justify using the entire property, they applied for a conversion of the warehouse and categorized our existing neighborhood as being an area of street-walled, lot-lined, converted factories and warehouses. That neighborhood disappeared years ago. Here's the site and the surrounding neighborhood. In the blue shaded area, there are absolutely no converted factories or warehouses. None. Period. City officials take note. In their application, the developers also wrote that most of the buildings in the vicinity are built to the lot line without setbacks and are street-walled, meaning buildings are built to the sidewalk, touch each other, and have no setbacks. Well, here's a setback, and I'm standing just 50 feet away from the building site. The green areas on this map indicate many of the landscaped setbacks and open areas of our neighborhood. As you can see, we are definitely not a neighborhood of street-walled, lot-lined buildings with no setbacks. City officials, take note. Sorry, Whitehall Corporation, but your characterization of our neighborhood, that's what really needs a conversion. That's the building site below. Again, what motive did Whitehall have to so grossly mischaracterize our neighborhood? In our opinion, they wanted the most square footage they could get. So, they applied for a conversion of the street-walled Whitehall building. They claimed that they didn't want to change the character of the neighborhood, that the Whitehall building was historic, and that a tall, narrow building would be intrusive. For some reason, the City Planning Commission agreed. The CPC wrote, slender buildings surrounded by open space would result in a building form which would be incompatible with the character of this portion of the Far West Village. As we've already shown, that is untrue, and what Whitehall failed to tell anyone is that their conversion will result in a structure that is actually as tall as the Richard Meier buildings seen here, and will be almost 3 times as wide. It became very clear to us why they mischaracterized our neighborhood. You see, conversions, unlike new construction, allow developers to bypass neighborhood zoning laws in the name of historic preservation. And unfortunately, the Whitehall's application for a conversion was approved. City officials, please explain. No one involved in the project would show us exactly what the finished building was going to look like. So, we went online to the Greenwich Village Society for Historical Preservation and the City Planning Commission and downloaded the developers' applications and designs. We then created this video, complete with 3-dimensional renderings drawn to scale, in order to show you the impact this building will have on our light, views, air, sunlight, and shadows. You're not going to like what you're about to see. We used a free program called Google SketchUp, and it's been very revealing. We'll start by showing you a rendering of the old Whitehall building. When we first heard they were clearing out this ugly warehouse, we assumed this massive neighborhood eyesore was being demolished. Encompassing over 47,000 square feet, this is the largest site in the entire West Village. Though ugly, the Whitehall's relatively short height allowed sunlight to pass over it, and allowed river views for buildings along Washington Street. Then we learned the awful truth. The massive warehouse would be preserved, and a new building would go on top of it. This is what they're planning to build. Our neighborhood is in serious trouble. This rendering has been drawn completely to scale from elevations taken directly from Whitehall's architectural plans. As far as we know, no one in our community or in public service has seen a 3D rendering of this building, not even the mayor. You're seeing it here first. Since the mayor is now the only one who has the power to stop this ton of bricks from ruining our neighborhood, we urge you to write to the mayor and send him the link to this video. When the developers applied for a conversion, the only conceptual visual aid that was offered besides flat architectural plans was this small sketch, as seen from a helicopter's view looking northeast. The majority of the description was in writing and was deceptive. In their application, the developer wrote, "The building will have two 11-story stepped towers." We don't see any towers. They wrote that the towers would be connected by a bridge. Is that a bridge? They wrote, "The towers will remain narrow with a minimal silhouette." That's a minimal silhouette. And they wrote, "The 11-story towers would be constructed atop the existing building." But how can you construct anything atop a building that no longer exists? And 11 stories built atop 3 stories should equal approximately 14 stories. In actuality, the architectural elevations indicate nearly 200 feet. That's equivalent to a 20-story building, the same height as the Meyer buildings and 2 floors shy of the Memphis building across the street. But they didn't want us to know that. And they didn't mention anything about the building's width. But it doesn't stop there. After reviewing public documents, it appears as if the city bent over backwards to accommodate Witkoff's wishes, and even granted them waivers on open space requirements. Aside from there being no street-level setbacks, this interior courtyard is one of the 2 only open areas that their approved conversion includes, and it's fortressed for their residents' use only. In their proposal, Whitcoff wrote that the courtyard has been designed to support songbirds and butterflies. Okay. We'll now show you the other open space that Whitcoff included in their design. They boasted that this feature would open up the existing West Village House's courtyard located here to light and air. That's right, those are cars driving through the building. We can only speculate that this open area was designed to support Subarus and BMWs. Their plan is to place a through street next to the West Village House's courtyard that travels from Charles Street to West 10th Street, allowing the exhaust fumes to vent up into existing homes. The added traffic will be particularly dangerous to school children and other pedestrians walking down the sidewalks, and will only cause congestion on a corner where we just recently had a street light installed. The Google SketchUp program allows us to precisely find sunlight and shadow projections based on location, date, and time. Here's a snapshot of 5 p.m. on July 17th. Here are the shadows on 10th Street and Washington created by this building. Here are the shadows cast on the Shepherd House. Note also how the conversion is taller than Shepherd House. It's also interesting to note that the City Planning Commission's environmental assessment statement determined that the enlarged structure will not adversely affect the vicinity in terms of scale, views, location, and access to light and air. Apparently, the City Planning Commission doesn't have Google SketchUp. Now, as a means of comparison, we're going to show you a rejected design. This as-of-right design complies with all the area's zoning laws, which allow air, light, and views to enter our neighborhood. Though it appears very tall, this as-of-right design is only 3 stories taller than the Memphis building, which stands directly across the street. Here, we're traveling through the West Village House's courtyard to the first-floor setback of the as-of-right design. Like the Memphis building, its first-floor setback allows views and sunlight to reach the surrounding neighborhood. The building has a narrow footprint, only 50 feet wide, and is surrounded by open space on all sides, just like the zoning laws require. These street-level landscape setbacks are over 200 feet long, and both of these areas would be open to the public and enjoyed by everyone. Let's compare sunlight. Here's the as-of-right design at 5 p.m. on July 17th. Light spills past the narrow design. The conversion blocks light from passing. The streets are dark. Here's a different view of the as-of-right design. Same time, same date. Note how 10th Street still receives light. With the approved conversion, 10th Street is covered in shadow, as well as Shepherd House. Here's a close-up. The light at 5 o'clock spills across our sidewalks and streets. Here's 5 o'clock with the conversion. The sidewalks and streets are in total darkness. Now we'll compare views. There's Shepherd House on West 10th and Washington. There's the Memphis building on Charles and Washington. Now watch what the conversion will do. The views are completely blocked. Now let's compare the two designs from the other side. With the as-of-right design, many Shepherd House tenants will still enjoy an unobstructed view of the river. Here's the same view with the conversion. Here's Memphis's view with the as-of-right building, and with the conversion. The choice is obvious. The developer told us at a community meeting that we would see nothing but green. Really? Is everybody planning to buy window boxes? With the as-of-right design, this entire 200 by 50-foot landscaped area would be open to the public. The first-floor landscaped area buttresses nicely with the West Village House's courtyard and matches the Memphis Building's first-floor setback across the street. The small footprint would even allow unobstructed views all the way over to Charles Street. The approved conversion will block views in every direction. Why did the City Planning Commission, the Department of Buildings, our community boards, and all of our city officials approve this conversion? We may never know. But it's not too late to stop this monstrous design from ruining our neighborhood. Want to know what you can do to help? Contact Mayor Bloomberg and include the link to this video. Urge him to please intervene and help stop this assault on our city. Mayor Bloomberg is the only one with the power to stop this now. And please, share this message with everyone you know who cares about New York City. Thank you.